Doncic, but I do know that a lot of people are saying, it very well could be DeAndre Ayton. That's who the Suns seem to be going for. So, there's good arguments for both. I still favor Doncic.
Okay. I think he's probably the biggest unknown with the most upside. I think the best player in terms of pure talent is probably Marvin Bagley. But I'm not an NBA talent evaluator or a scout. And there are way too many Division I teams to watch every game. So I don't consider myself to be an expert. But if I had the first overall pick, I'm probably going to go Marvin Bagley. But
okay, I think the Kings are probably going to take Bagley, assuming that the Suns take Ayton. Obviously, NBA, need plays a bigger role than BPA does in compared to football or anything like that. Just because there's so few starters that you need to consider what positions you have to fill. So I think it does kind of make sense for the Suns to go lean a little bit toward a pure center versus Bagley, who's more of a forward center. But I like Bagley. He's extremely athletic, great on offense, rebounds really well. So there's certainly nothing wrong with going with Bagley.
Right, and I mean he's got that Duke pedigree, which
nothing to sneeze at.
Exactly. I mean, I can't think of any recent busts from Duke. I mean, like J.J. Redick, probably the biggest that I can think of. But personally, Marvin Bagley would be my choice if I had the number 1 overall pick. But my favorite team does not have the number 1 overall pick. My favorite team has the 9th overall pick. And Dan O'Shea, that would be the Knicks.
Yeah. 9 overall stinks. But hopefully we can get a player who is at minimum a very good role player. It's looking like the Knicks are going to go for a winger. Very likely that it's one of the Bridges, McCall or Miles. If Michael Porter or Trae Young don't fall, if one of them falls to 9, I think the Knicks go with them before either of the Bridges. But I think at 9 the Knicks go Bridges, and I don't know which one. I go back and forth. Miles seems to have more offensive talent. McCall seems to have more raw potential, and looks like he'd be an elite defender off the bat, and then could build that offensive talent. So I keep going back and forth between those two guys. So I don't know who they're going to pick if that's what their options are. I just think it's going to be a Bridges.
Right. So I, up until today, have been steadfast on I don't really like any of the players that could possibly fall to the Knicks, but my mind was changed today. There is one player that I want the Knicks to draft that I saw a few different mock drafts, and they actually have the Knicks drafting this player, and I'd be excited. And that is Colin Sexton. The guy has absolute grit, toughness, determination. He almost beat Minnesota with him and one other player on the court. After a whole bunch of players got suspended or fouled out and ejected. He and one other player almost took on and beat Minnesota's 5. That is incredible. I love Avery Johnson, and I feel like he's instilling good things into Colin Sexton. And Sexton, just if you watched him, he's got the one thing that I think makes a great athlete, and that is the want to win. He's not just there because, I'm going to get to the NBA and it's not going to matter. He legitimately wants to win every time he touches the ball, every time he steps on a court. He wants to play 100% and give everything he's got. And that's the kind of player that the Knicks need. And that's who I want the Knicks to draft.
I do like Sexton. He's being looked at around like 12 or 13. So I have seen a few mock drafts where the Knicks trade back with the Clippers because the Clippers apparently are trying to move up and take Sexton with that pick. He really does have an excellent work ethic. He's a pretty good shooter. But at the same time, I'm not sure that you necessarily want to take another point guard with the Knicks' current roster seeming flush with point guards. That's where I think need kind of comes into play, and that's why I think they should probably go with a small forward or some sort of winger, because they are saying that it's no longer 1 through 5. It's guard, wing, or like big down low. Instead of the traditional 1 through 5, it's really just 3 positions now. Is the modern NBA? I don't know if you guys have heard that.
Yeah, it's 2 guards, 2 forwards, and a center. Essentially.
Right. So I think the Knicks are okay in the other 2 aspects and really need some wings to spread the floor.
Yeah, I mean, I don't believe in any of the point guards that the Knicks have right now. I know Frank Ntilikina is still developing, whatnot. Emmanuel Mudiay, he's been great on offense a few times, very lackluster on defense, but mostly middle of the road. Ron Baker is coming back from injury, and then you got Trey Burke. But I think unless Fizdale likes Trey Burke, I don't see Burke staying with the team, because for whatever reason, he's been completely disrespected the entire time he's been on the team, despite the fact that when he's on the floor, he makes a difference whether he's scoring or not. I think Emmanuel Mudiay was a nice little trade at the time, but I don't know that it's something that we should continue to pursue, which sucks saying about such a young player with such upside and potential. Ntilikina, I feel like he's been damaged, and I want to see him go to Westchester and play on a 2-way contract. I think
he is way better than any Westchester Knick. I don't know why you think that. He's not a prolific scorer, but he improves steadily through the season. He's already great on defense, and I saw photos and workouts that Ntilikina's been doing. His handles are better. He put on some weight, and I think he also gained a couple inches in height, or an inch at least. So don't be surprised if my boy Frankie surprises everybody this next season by being way more effective.
I'm not saying exclusively down in Westchester. That 2-way contract they can do now, I think you get 35 games that you can play in the NBA. So he can be on the roster, on the Knicks bench, and if he doesn't enter the game, that doesn't count, I believe is how it works. So if he gets to develop in Westchester while playing in the NBA as well, I think that's the best of both worlds, rather than, splitting his time up every game among four, point guards, giving him 4 minutes here, 6 minutes there. Give him 35 minutes in Westchester, and for those 35 games, give him 10 minutes or whatever you're going to with the Knicks. I think that would be the most beneficial to allow him to develop among players that are his own age and are still up and coming, but also give him valuable playing experience against NBA talent players. I don't think he's at the point that he should be at yet, and I know that he's put on this weight. I know that he's grown these inches, and he's been working really hard, but so have all the players in the G League. It's not like they just sit around eating popcorn all day watching other people work. They're putting in work too. Ron Baker was on a two-way contract. I like Luke Cornett. I think he's going to be a really good piece one day for some team. Maybe not the Knicks, but he's on a two-way contract. I'm not saying keep him, stifle him down in Westchester, but it literally could not hurt his development to have him be the best player on the team.
See, I disagree. I think it actually could hurt his development because it's a shot to confidence, and confidence is a huge aspect of a player's mental game. And B, the way you get better is by playing against really good players. And instead of keeping him against the best in the world, you're going to put him against what are, kind of scrubs in comparison. I think that is going to hurt his development. And I don't think there's anyone that's in the point guard position for the Knicks that is significantly better than him enough to reduce him to G League. He should be on the Knicks, and he should probably be the starter next season, assuming that he has made some improvements to his offensive game. His defensive side is already there. So it was really, he needed to learn to handle better. He needed to learn to shoot a little bit more because he was very pass first. His passing is very good, which is always lovely in a point guard. So if these minor two aspects slightly improved, then all of a sudden you're going to see it all come together into a much more complete player.
I hope you're right. I need to see it. His defense is definitely there. His effort is there. But the Knicks, especially without Kristaps Porzingis, need someone to fill the void of the of a scoring. Because Cantor, his 15 to 20 points a game is great, but that's not going to lead them. And who else on the team? They're going to get rid of Courtney Lee. They're going to get rid of Kyle O'Quinn. So who else is this team going to have?
Well, O'Quinn's opting out. Probably can't afford him back. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Lee does still have one more year on his contract, so I'm not sure that he won't be back. And obviously, without Kristaps, this team is not going to be anywhere near, where it could be. But I think in the draft is where you get a potential player to really fill a scoring role. But the Knicks are still obviously building. They're not in a position this free agency really to get someone in free, with a big contract. They don't really have the money for it. So, you got to kind of give these younger guys a chance to step up and see, who does.
Right. And I understand that. So I did forget, and I know you're probably going to yell at me for saying this. When he was healthy, Tim Hardaway wasn't terrible with the Knicks last year, and his suit game is on point.
Yep.
He's fantastic suits. But I think I've also been seeing some stupid trade rumors. It's according to a lot of things I've seen, it sounds like the Knicks are going to be pushing